Vow, view, vow, view, vow, view, vow, view, vow to view, vow, 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 vow to view,
vow to view each other's movies, even though we don't always like them, but it's okay because we love each other and movies too.
Ciao, and welcome to Vow to View, a Daily Planet podcast all about marriage and the things we make each other watch. My name is Elyse Daly.
And I am Scott Daly.
And together we're the Dailies.
Man, we got this down now.
I know, and I moved my shoulders more this time to see if it would confuse you, but it didn't.
I'm not looking at your shoulders, Elyse. I'm looking at your smile.
Oh, well, so much for the shimmy then.
Yes, this is the podcast where each week Elyse and I pick a movie and make each other watch it. And then we come on here and we talk about it. And we talk about what we learned about each other, about love, about
life,
movies, about marriage.
Happiness.
About everything.
About everything. The Constitution.
What?
Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness.
Yeah.
We learn a lot about the Constitution.
Sure. This week on the podcast, it's Oscars week, Elyse.
Yeah.
We're recording this on a Saturday. We're late because poor planning on my part.
Yeah.
So we're recording this on a Saturday. It's going to go up on a Saturday, which means tomorrow is the Academy Awards.
What?
Which, in this household...
is a holiday.
And by household, I mean the two of us.
Some might say a Roman holiday.
It
was a bad joke. I'm sorry.
Statement to try to make a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. In this house, we like the Oscars.
We do.
Watch the Oscars. We usually have a big party. I take the day off after because I get.
Because you can.
Get a little
you can take a lot
wasted.
of time off, and I can't.
I have PTO. Yeah, my job lets me take time off. Yours.
Your job also isn't okay to take more time off. Mine. I'm the only profession where it's more work to take time off.
Yeah.
And it's really annoying.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry.
It's fine.
You chose it.
I did.
But even I'm taking Monday off from work. I will be working all day Monday.
How about you bring me lunch? That would be nice.
I'll be working all day Monday on the Daily Planet because that's my second job.
Yeah.
I will bring you lunch.
You will?
I will.
Oh, that's so
But
nice
the
of you.
Oscars, you like the Oscars. Did you like the Oscars before you met me?
I had a party of one every year before.
Party of drinking one bottle of wine by myself?
I had a bottle of wine by myself. I got cupcakes, and I would text or FaceTime my sister the whole time throughout it, and we would enjoy it. And for a couple of years, it worked really great because we would have bad weather days that weekend. And so I'd get the next day off. So having a bottle of wine to myself was perfectly acceptable because I would have no school the next day. And then global warming, Leonardo DiCaprio gave that speech.
Yeah,
it's just true.
It's all his fault.
Now I don't get bad weather days the day after, which is unfortunate.
I know. I think it's like 70 degrees right here right now.
Yep.
Also, they pushed it back. Like, Oscars used to be in February and then March this year, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah. Snow days in March are few and far between in Texas.
Definitely.
Yep.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's a lot of... I think the bottom line of the Academy Awards is that they're kind of silly, right? Like, it's...
Yes, it doesn't really mean anything, but it's so much fun to see what everybody wears.
Well, okay, that's not why I enjoy it.
Oh,
but,
that's why I enjoy it.
I mean, I like celebrating of good movies. Like, for the most part, with some exceptions, movies that win awards at the Oscars are good movies.
For the most part.
And they are deserving of those awards. So I like to to me, the bigger deal is who's nominated than who ends up winning. I mean, it's fun to play games like which do you think is going to win to celebrate the movie. I think A Shape of Water, or the Shape of Water, is going to win Best Picture this year.
Don't forget that article.
And I mean, I love Guillermo del Toro. I think he's deserving of this award, so I'm very excited for him. But like all the movies that are nominated this year are good movies.
They are.
I'm happy are there.
Except for that one that I hated.
Which one?
I did not like The Phantom Thread.
Yeah.
It was so boring.
No. You're wrong. It's okay, though.
No, I'm not wrong.
Yes.
You can't tell me I don't like something that's a piece of art because I just don't like it.
No, I'm not saying you're wrong that you don't like it. I'm saying you're wrong that it's boring.
I think that it's boring.
You're wrong.
No. I think that it's boring. You might not think that it's boring, but the whole thing about movies is that you can have two different opinions about it.
Yeah, but just because...
It doesn't mean that I'm right. It doesn't mean that you're wrong. It just means that that's my opinion.
Okay.
And that can be true about movies. We both could find something that we like. We both can find something that we hate.
Some opinions...
And this one, we're just
because
stuck in between.
Everyone's subject to an opinion does not mean that someone's opinion is better than another person's opinion.
Mm-hmm.
My opinion is the better one. Phantom Thread is a beautiful movie.
It is. It's beautiful.
It's powerful.
It is very beautiful. But it is beautifully boring.
The examination of this couple's relationship, this weird kind of, it's so disturbing but fascinating. I love Phantom Thread. I love Paul Thomas Anderson.
Glad you liked it. I wish I would have fallen asleep. I don't think I did in that one. That would have been a good one to fall asleep in.
Wow. Anyway.
I didn't even fall asleep during the awful Red Sparrow last night. And that was boring. And it was Jennifer Lawrence. And I kept on closing my eyes thinking, am I tired enough to fall asleep? Can I become unconscious? And it never happened. Wow. So sad.
You get an attitude today.
What? I don't have an attitude today.
Yeah, you do.
I have an attitude every day.
Every day.
Don't act like it's just today.
Is the dog snoring being caught on?
The dog is snoring because she thought that the Phantom Thread was boring too, and the conversation about the movie is boring her as well.
Wow.
What?
Thanks, babe.
Yeah.
The Phantom Thread was great. Red Sparrow was fine. Red Sparrow's not an Oscar movie, though, so I don't understand
Red Sparrow will never be an Oscar movie.
Yeah, of course it won't. All right, so for the podcast this week, we went down the list of the Best Picture winners, and we decided to pick movies that we liked out of those, and then we promptly ignored the rules.
Now, we didn't say it was going to be a Best Picture. We just said Oscar nominated when our original conversation was had.
No.
And that's why I picked the movie that I did. And then you wanted to instead, after that, say, let's do Best Picture. But I had never said Best Picture. I just said a movie that had won an Oscar.
I don't understand why you're lying.
I'm not lying.
I mean, we specifically said Best Picture, and then you said, I'm going to break the rules because I want to. That's what you said to me.
I had to say break the rules because you wanted to go back and make a rule that was never made in the first place. You can't make rules after the game has already started. Are you one of those that did that with Candyland so that you would always win? You're going to make up rules as you go along.
Which of the two of us cheated at board games as a child?
I cheated with the current rules. I didn't cheat by making my own rules.
I don't cheat at games. Therefore, Elyse.
Just at life.
Elyse.
What?
I said Best Picture winner. And you admitted that you were breaking the rules when you picked this movie. It doesn't matter. What is your movie? What is the movie that you picked?
Roman Holiday.
And why is that related to the Oscars?
Because it won the Oscar for Best Actress.
Who is?
The icon, Audrey Hepburn.
All right. So tell us a little bit about Roman Holiday.
Well, Roman Holiday, if you didn't know, Roman Holiday was actually the basis for another Disney movie called Aladdin. So basically, it's the story of Aladdin where it's this princess that is tired of living the palace life, and she decides to take a vacation, a Roman holiday, if you will. And so this reporter finds her and ends up trying to use it for his own selfish gain of spending the day with her, and then they end up falling in love, but she has to return to her palace lifestyle, and his love for her keeps him from releasing the story. So that's different from Aladdin, but you know, everything else is basically the same.
So Elyse asked me in the middle of the movie, is this based on Aladdin?
No, I didn't say is this based on Aladdin because I knew that this came out before Aladdin, but I thought to myself for a second, maybe Aladdin was based off of this because, you know, it's just like Princess Jasmine, only there's no tiger. And they went to the marketplace. I was like, maybe. And then I realized probably not, because I'm sure there are lots of stories about a princess that decides she doesn't want to face her responsibilities anymore. But I still thought I'd ask.
And that is when I informed Elyse of the book Arabian Nights, in which one of the stories
Arabian Nights!
In which one of the stories is titled Aladdin and the Magic Lamp, which is what Aladdin was taken from.
I didn't know it. It's
Now,
fine.
I mean, the thing about the
I
story.
used to not read.
The thing about the story of this movie, though, is that it's been done hundreds of times. I mean, like the idea of bored royalty going out into the world is a story that's been told again and again and again. But for some reason, it really works in this movie.
Well, I told you why the movie became so popular when it did come out was because Princess Anne was supposedly, well, okay, so it wasn't really based on Princess Margaret at the time because the movie had been around for a while. But Princess Margaret was, she had fallen in love with Peter Townsend, which was scandalous because not only was he a commoner, but he was divorced as well, which, oh my gosh, unspeakable. But now, you've got Prince Harry marrying Meghan Markle, who is divorced as well, and now remarrying.
The 21st
I
century.
love Meghan Markle. She's fantastic.
So this movie was written by Dalton Trumbo.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know that.
During the Blacklist.
Yeah. He didn't get credit for it until years later. One of he's partially responsible for for dismantling the Blacklist because he wrote so many movies. I mean, he wrote Spartacus.
And did you say that this movie won an Oscar for screenplay, so he didn't get to accept the Oscar for it?
I don't know.
Did you say that?
Did.
It did.
Spartacus did.
It did.
Oh, okay.
It did.
Well, I mean, that's part of the reason why the Blacklist failed is because Trumbo successfully ghost wrote screenplays forever, and then Kirk Douglas for Spartacus declared that this was Dalton Trumbo, and that's kind of what defeated the Blacklist finally. So yeah, Trumbo's a really good writer.
Oh, I found out something else that's funny about the Oscar with this movie.
What's that?
Okay, so Audrey Hepburn, because she won, which is the whole reason that I picked this. So she was so excited that she went to the bathroom and left her Oscar in the bathroom. And was running around and then realized she forgot it and had to go back and get it and then came out for pictures. And I think that she had actually lost it. And I read somewhere that maybe there's 2 Oscars with her name on it for Best Actress for this movie. I might be confusing that with something else, but
I don't know.
Anyways, I adore Audrey Hepburn.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about, before we get into my reaction to this movie, let's talk about you. And let's talk about
me.
Of course.
Oh, my favorite thing to talk about.
Why'd you pick this movie? Why do you like this movie? Talk about your past with Roman Holiday.
Well, I think that I had said before, whenever we did Pillow Talk, that the movie with Doris Day, I had watched that movie because when I was younger, we watched a lot of movie classics. And so we'd always, pick 1 or 2 classic actors or actresses that we kind of had as our own icons or whatever whenever we were little. And Audrey Hepburn was the one for really me and my sisters because we felt as though we always kind of looked like her because we had our dark hair, we had our dark eyes. So we enjoyed trying to pretend to be her. And then we would just start watching, all of the movies that she was in. So we watched, obviously, this movie. We watched Sabrina, watched Funny Girl, My Fair Lady, Funny Face. That was my least favorite of it. How to Steal a Million. I did my bedroom in old school movie posters of Audrey Hepburn when I was little. She was just my style icon.
Wait Until Dark.
Life. Oh yes, Wait Until Dark. That one was really scary for me. And so we always loved watching Audrey Hepburn movies. And then when I guess I was in either middle school or high school, the Jennifer Love Hewitt story of Audrey Hepburn came out, and I learned more of the actual life of Audrey Hepburn.
What is this?
It was a TV special, and it was...
Was she playing Audrey Hepburn?
Yeah, she was.
Oh, interesting.
And so I learned about her, and
She does not look
she
like
does.
Audrey Hepburn at
She
all.
does She does.
Her boobs are way too big.
Well, okay, I didn't realize that, but her eyebrows were spot on.
That shows you 2 things that we were jumping to.
Yeah. And so after I had learned that about her life and about how she, almost died in World War II because she was sick and needed penicillin and, all this other stuff. And then when she grew up, her humanitarian work and all of that, I had even more of an appreciation for her. I wrote like a research paper on her when I was in high school. Like
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I was a big time Audrey Hepburn fan.
I didn't know that the obsession went this deep.
I had to write a biography research paper biography, and that's who I chose.
Is this your favorite of her films, Roman Holiday?
I don't really know if it's my favorite. It's one that I really like. It's probably one of the ones that I've watched the least. I think the ones that I've seen the most, obviously My Fair Lady, because it's a musical and we watch that all the time. Charade, I've seen a ton.
Let's talk about My Fair Lady.
Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Because Audrey, is she a good singer?
It was a voice dub.
Yeah. Because she can't
sing. No, she trained. Mm-hmm. She trained for months, and then when it came down to it, they decided to dub her voice, and she was really, really upset about it because of how much she put into training.
They left in the songs where they're more talky, right? Like when she's not full on singing, when she's doing like the talk, like you know what I mean, the talky kind of songs when it's mostly just someone talking in rhythm. They left that in, right? But yeah, all the big when she's hitting the high notes, it's not her.
Which My Fair Lady, winner for Best Picture. So there you go. That's another Oscar-related Audrey Hepburn.
Beat out Mary Poppins.
I mean, I think it is better than Mary Poppins.
Wasn't Julie Andrews supposed to play her character in My Fair Lady?
Yes, was going to, because I think she was originally Eliza Doolittle on stage in London. Yeah. But then it went to Audrey Hepburn.
So they gave it to Hepburn, and then they didn't even let her sing, and then she beats Julie Andrews at Best Picture. Mm-hmm. Oh, man. Rivalry.
Yeah. I think they probably liked each other.
I think they probably liked each other fine.
Yeah. So that's my history with Audrey Hepburn, which is why I think it's probably good that when I picked a movie that was for her for Oscar, I picked Best Actress because of it being her. And I really like her.
That makes sense. That makes sense. We both ended up picking a movie in which had a Best Actress winner in it.
Yours won Best Actress?
Let's wait till we get
Oh my
there.
Gosh.
We're going to have a conversation about that.
Okay.
Yeah, so what about Gregory Peck? Mr. Peck.
Tall, dark, and handsome.
You like Gregory Peck.
I do like Gregory Peck. I don't know if I've really seen, I think just this and maybe To Kill a Mockingbird. Isn't he in To Kill a Mockingbird?
Yeah.
I think those are the only two Gregory Peck movies I've seen.
Most well-known films,
Yeah.
He's great.
But he is great. It's so funny seeing him though, because he's so tall and then
short.
Well, she's short, but the scene where it has him going down the stairs to the apartment in Italy, I don't know if it was a set that they built or they just found it somewhere, but he's, probably going to hit his head on the ceiling of the first level because he's just so much bigger than I think the normal Italian man. And it's so funny to me.
6'2" that has been to Rome.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's not designed for tall people. And he's taller than me. I think Gregory Peck was like 6'4" or something.
I don't know how tall he was.
He was pretty tall. But yeah, so this movie was filmed entirely on location. That's something you told me. It was made in 1953, but it's black and white, and that's why.
And
because it costs so much to film in Rome that they couldn't afford their Technicolor cameras. They had to use older black and white cameras. There's actually black and white film.
A lot of stuff that the director wanted to do, and because of the budget, it was limited.
Who was William Wyler, by the way?
Who was William Wyler? Yes. So he wanted to film it.
One of the greatest directors of all time.
He wanted on location. He wanted to have people other than Audrey Hepburn be the title role. It was just in the budget, it wouldn't work. And then so he had to have...
This was her first big role, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
She's in a couple of other little things. Yeah. And, I mean, shot her into fame. So it was great.
Helps when you have that last name.
Hepburn? Well... anyways.
Yeah.
She was good.
So I had seen this movie once before, but I think it was with you. I think when you and I watched this movie the first year we were dating.
We did?
Yeah. I'm like 99% sure.
Okay.
Because I had never seen this before. because my Audrey Hepburn experience consisted of Breakfast at Tiffany's, and
which is good, but I mean that's just the one that I feel like she's always known
that's
for.
The one, everyone has the picture of her in the gloves with the cigarette. Like,
and I admit, it's just like everywhere that I go that I've seen a movie with her in it, I went with my sisters and we got coffee and croissants and we ate breakfast in front of the Tiffany's in New York. And then when I was in Rome, it was, like pretty much the Rome tour. Let's do what I remember seeing.
Yeah, you got to go to the Trevi Fountain.
Which was under construction whenever I went. So I never have actually seen it in its full working glory.
Yeah. Yeah, so I really like this movie.
It's good.
Like we were talking about, this is not the most original story in the world. I mean, this is a story that's been told again and again and again. But I think it like the newspaperman angle on it, I think works. Like that he's not just a commoner that finds her and falls in love with her. Like he's working his own hustle.
Yeah, he's got an angle.
He's trying to get a story from her without her knowing it, and he has his camera friend who's like my favorite character in the world is the camera in the movie is the cameraman who's helping him out, and how he just like consistently keeps spelling things on him. But I love that it actually takes a while for this movie to become a romance. Like the majority of the film is focused on her experiencing this life outside of the castle walls, and her we see her grow up throughout the course of this movie. Like the beginning of the movie, she's an adult, but she's very childish. Like we see her put to bed and she's whining about how she has to wear a nightgown, and she gets milk and crackers in bed. And like
it actually reminded me of Scarlet and Gone with the Wind. And for a split second I was like, why do I always like these movies with these girls that are these big, huge, like drama queens?
That's a good question, Elyse.
I don't know. Why would that be, Scott?
Maybe
am I like that? I don't think I'm to that extent.
I don't Audrey Hepburn in this movie, Princess Anna, is childish at the beginning, and so you were not childish, no. But she does. She grow like
I'm not childish. Am I whiny? You think I'm whiny, don't you?
No.
Yes, you do. I see it in your eyes.
Yeah, you can be whiny at times.
I'm just demanding. I admit that.
But I mean, like that was the thing I was paying attention to on this watch, because I had seen it for the second time. I was like, how differently she treats the people around her once she returns to the castle or
the palace.
The palace at the end of the movie. She is a lot more commanding, a lot more in control, and she has become a woman. She is not a girl anymore. She has grown up, and I think that's really cool that the majority of the movie focuses on this coming of age story of this princess who's lived this sheltered life and just wants to experience this thing. And she is a good character. I love the part at the end when she's talking about like, don't ever mention the word duty to me again, because if I didn't know what my duty was to my family and my country, I wouldn't have ever come back. And that she has now grown to understand why she must do these things even if she doesn't like it. And there's something a little tragic to that. I mean, like that she is forced into this life that she doesn't really ever want. And I like that the movie doesn't undercut that by getting the two of them together at the end. Like they fall in love, they share some passionate kissing, and then he has to let her go. And we have this moment at the end where he is showing up to do the interview, and she realizes that he was a reporter, and there's this wonderful written dialogue that's like double speak, where they're talking about things publicly, but they're saying things under that dialogue. It's
great tension.
Yeah, exactly. And the movie ends. They don't get back together because that would be kind of ridiculous. That like he's a newspaperman, she's a princess. Like they live in completely different worlds, and for them to actually get together would be too much of a movie move, right? Like it's just like she has this time that she will treasure forever.
It would turn it into a fairy tale.
Yeah, exactly.
And it wasn't
which
a fairy
tale. I don't think
is
what this was trying to be. So yeah, I mean, I really liked how that was done. Trumbo is a good writer. He's a very good writer. He knows how to write emotional, tense scenes, and there's a lot of fun here. I mean, there's so many iconic scenes. My favorite is the Mouth of Lies.
Yeah, I really liked it.
Which you told me. I didn't realize that was...
So he had whispered, Gregory Peck had a conversation with the director before they shot it, and he said that this is what he was going to do. And so he had come up with the story about the whole medallion-looking thing on the wall. And so whenever they filmed it, it was Audrey Hepburn's real reaction because she didn't know that he was going to pretend to have his hand chopped off.
The whole thing
and she was really freaked out.
You stick your hand in the mouth of lies, and if you are a liar, it will bite down and chop your hand
off.
And of course, the greatness of this scene is that they are both lying to each other at this point. She is pretending that she is not the princess. He is pretending that he does not know that she's the princess. So they're both liars. So she starts to do it and then hesitates because she knows she's a liar. And Gregory Peck just says, okay, I'll do it. And he sticks his hand in and then screams. And yeah, that's a natural reaction that she freaks out.
And that was the take they used.
Yeah.
Too.
And like you can see, like knowing that is funny because you can see her initial reaction. She goes directly for his hand to try to pull him out. And it's just like, Audrey, you wanted to help your co-star.
Yeah. And you can see the relief on her face too whenever
like,
it happened. It was really funny. I liked it because I hadn't actually known that until this tape, so I was looking for it too, and I really liked it. I was so sad when I did go to Rome and it was closed.
That's too bad.
I did that Segway tour though, and I got to see all of those things.
Segway tour.
Yeah, that was a fun tour.
So I mean, I don't know. I really enjoyed this movie. I really liked it. Like I said, I had seen it before, and I was thinking, am I going to appreciate it less on the second time? No. It's a good movie. It's a good classic movie. It's not like you can call it a romance film, but it's not. I mean, it's barely a romance movie. Like they don't. If I had one complaint, it's that they really don't push the Gregory Peck is actually falling for her thing until very late in the movie. Like it's almost not until they jump off the barge. I mean, that's the first actual romantic moment they had. But I mean, that's not what the movie tries to do. So that's a weird criticism of it, I guess. But yeah, so I guess it's just because my Audrey Hepburn experience prior to you,
the Audrey Hepburn experience. I like that title.
Is one film that I just associate you with Audrey Hepburn now. So I know you said that like you and your sisters like pretended to be Audrey Hepburn. I get that. I totally get that because in my head, when I think Audrey Hepburn, I think of you, and like
because I'm so classic.
Well, I mean,
I'm so beautiful.
Like she's very high energy and like
I'm so iconic. It's my eyebrows.
Yeah, it's your. Well, no.
Yeah, I don't have her eyebrows.
You don't really look like Audrey Hepburn, but
no,
and you're a lot taller than she was.
And I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't have an eating disorder.
Yeah, that's good.
That's good.
But you're like, I don't know, maybe rambunctious is the word. Like, you're a high energy person who likes to have fun, and that's just the things that I think about Audrey Hepburn when I think of that. Like, a lot of her acting was like very high highs, like when she kind of like when she's sitting in the bed at the beginning of the movie and like is having a nervous breakdown eventually. Like, not I'm not saying you are having nervous breakdowns. I'm just saying like
I mean, I kind of had one not a nervous breakdown.
The way
I had a moment this week.
Yeah.
Sorry,
the way
guys.
she acts the scene is very like over the top, filled with energy, and that's you to me. That's
I am. I'm over the top, filled with energy.
So over the top.
And life's a show, babe. You just gotta watch it.
So how many Audrey Hepburn movies have we watched since we've been together? We've watched Wait Until Dark, although you fell asleep. You did not wait until dark to fall asleep.
No. We watched Charade and My Fair Lady.
We watched Charade and we watched My Fair Lady. So we have that thing that has Funny Face on it.
I need to rewatch that because I don't remember liking it very much when I was younger. But now, and so I never rewatched it. I think I've only seen that maybe once.
Wait Until Dark is really good.
Wait Until Dark is amazing. We got so
what was
scared.
that movie Don't Breathe that came out where they broke into the blind guy's house to
Yeah.
rob him, and he turned out to be a psychopath. And everyone was comparing that movie to Wait Until Dark because the setup is kind of the same. Because in Wait Until Dark, Audrey
Don't
Hepburn
spoil it.
plays a blind woman
Oh yeah. That's fine.
who and robbers try to break into her house because there's some gems hidden there or something.
Drugs.
Drugs
Hidden in a
yeah.
doll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she has to kind of defend her home from these.
It is so good.
So Don't Breathe was like a reverse Wait Until Dark, except that movie. Did you ever see that movie?
I did not see that movie.
God, it got really weird. The Wait Until Dark comparison is as it turns out not great. Yeah.
So it was really good. We haven't seen How to Steal a Million.
No.
And I'm trying to think. The Nun Story. I will admit to not really liking A Nun Story.
You don't like an Audrey Hepburn movie?
That one was very, very long and boring, I recall, as a younger child.
Okay. Well,
But I don't know. We can have the Audrey Hepburn experience, show, weekend, life.
We'll do live recording commentaries on the Audrey Hepburn marathon.
The Audrey Hepburn experience. I like that. I like how you said that.
Really like that.
I've coined it. Trademarked. Done.
Okay. Okay, well, I think that's all we had to talk about Roman Holiday. Good movie. I think she was well deserving of the Academy Award.
I think so too. She was fantastic.
All right.
I like saying fantastic.
Fantastic.
I always say it.
All
Fantastic.
Right. Let's move on to my movie, and we will get there right after this.
Why don't you take a little time for yourself?
Maybe another hour.
Live dangerously. Take the whole day.
I could do some of the things I've always wanted to.
Like what?
Oh, you can't imagine. I'd like to do just whatever I like the whole day long.
Things like having your hair cut, eating gelato.
Yes, and I'd like to sit at a sidewalk cafe and look in shop windows, walk in the rain, have fun, and maybe some excitement. Doesn't seem much to you, does it?
It's great. Tell you what, why don't we do all those things together?
But don't you have to work?
Work now. Today's going to be a holiday.
But you don't want to do a lot of silly things.
Don't I? First wish, one sidewalk cafe coming right up.
And we are back, and it's time.
Yes, we are.
You didn't do the song.
I
I'm so
didn't
glad.
because you always complain when I do the song.
Because it was funny the first time, and now you're just singing Eminem every week.
There's nothing wrong with Eminem
I didn't
every
say
week.
there was. At least sing a
Eminem
new
or
song.
M&Ms.
At least do the Mom Spaghetti song.
Oh. How does that one start? I just drew a blank, but I know it. Once I get started, I'll know it. Oh my gosh, I'm on the spot and I don't
This is so
remember.
funny. I'm not gonna help
because I
you
can
out
only
at
think
all.
of the chorus. You better lose yourself. Oh, his palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already. The mom's spaghetti. He's nervous, but on the surface he looks calm and ready. There you go.
So good at rap.
Man, Eminem ain't got nothing on me.
Nope.
I think I rapped that on the show before. I rapped it on something before because I was doing this, and then you got really freaked out because I was like trying to do this whole little dance as I'm rapping, and it's in the arms.
Oh my God, Elyse.
I wish I was a better rapper.
You could.
It's practice. That's what I've heard. Is it's just that the more that you practice, the better you become at rapping. So when you freestyle, that way you have your beats and your rhymes. But I got no beats and no rhymes. I ain't got the time.
Are you trying to freestyle?
I did, and then I stopped.
That's a good call. All right, my movie, I picked Sunrise, A Song of Two Humans. This is
Sunrise, sunset. Sunrise, sunset. I don't remember the rest of the Fiddler on the Roof song.
This was a 1927 movie written by Carl Mainer and Herman Suddenman. It was directed by F.W. Murnau, who you might know from directing Nosferatu.
I definitely don't.
The original vampire film.
The original vampire film. Oh, so we've got the original Aladdin and the original vampire film.
Yeah.
Who knew that this
Wow.
was going to be such a week of originals?
It is starring George O'Brien and Janet Gaynor, who, as I said earlier, won the first Best Actress Academy Award.
Cannot even believe.
Was
this the only movie that had a woman in it all year?
No.
Oh, I would have not known.
This movie is the IMDb summary here is kind of funny because it interprets the movie a way I wouldn't have. An allegorical tale about a man fighting the good and evil within him. Both sides are made flesh. One, a sophisticated woman he is attracted to, and the other, his wife.
And I'm going to completely kind of be on his side for a bit. This wife, she had let herself go. She did.
So the story of this movie is this is a silent film, and like we said last week, this one
It was not silent when we watched it.
It was a silent film. There
Scott.
was no dialogue in it.
Yes, there was.
Okay, well
it was better dialogue.
This was made
than
to be a silent film.
What it should have been.
And Elyse, in the middle of the movie, decided that she was bored.
Not in the middle, at the beginning. I did it the whole time.
Decided that she was bored and that she was going to make the silent movie and turn it into a full dialogue movie, and she was going to play all the characters.
Yeah,
so
I did a really good job.
Sure you did.
I did.
Sure you did.
Who knew? I should have been a screenwriter.
So the story of this movie is it takes place in a rural area outside of a city. There is
Farm.
There is a woman that has come from the city for the summer and has fallen for a farmer who happens to be married. And his farm is failing. He's having to sell off everything. He's miserable. His wife has a middle part, which for Elyse is apparently
the middle.
just
I
unforgivable.
like a middle part, and I will rock a middle hair part at times. But when you have a middle hair part, you cannot pull it back in the bun like she had. It totally makes your face very round, no matter what you have. It's the shape of your face. And it makes you look even like you have a greasier forehead than you really do.
It's almost as if they
did it on
directly
purpose
contrast.
to make her look ugly. Of course, your husband's not going to like when you have a middle part like that and you pull your hair back like that.
So it's her fault that he cheated on
Not
her?
entirely, but
Not
I mean,
entirely, not at all. He is having an affair with this woman from the city, and she says, "Sell your farm, come with me to the city." He says, "What about my wife?" Which she replies,
kill her.
"Maybe she could have an accident." So they devise a plan for him to take the wife out to the middle of their lake and then drown her.
Now, it wasn't necessarily they did it. It was more of the woman was like, here's what you're going to do.
It was all her plan.
Like,
it was all her plan.
Hey, I've done this before. It's going to work out great.
So he decides
Black
that
Widow.
he's going to do it, and he goes to his wife and says, "We're going to go out on the town, or we're going to go to the city. We're going to ride across the lake and go to the city for a day on the town." And she's so excited and happy. She's like, "I've got my husband back," because everyone in this town seems aware that he's been having an affair. Like everyone.
Well, it's a small town.
Yeah.
News travels in small towns.
So
And she's got her hair pulled back, not covering her ears, so she can really hear things.
So they go out onto the middle of the lake, and then when he's about in the center, he suddenly stands up menacingly and is about to drown her, and she freaks the fuck out. And then he changes his mind at the last minute, and then decides, let's go to the city. And she is understandably freaked out and runs away from him. And there's a few scenes where they're running around. They get on a trolley that heads into the city. They run into the city. And then finally they see a wedding take place. And witnessing the wedding kind of rekindles the love between these two people.
They renew their own vows.
They do. And then the rest of the movie is them spending the day in the city, like learning how to love each other again. And then they head home, and she almost dies.
Yeah.
Because the storm comes and the boat does capsize. But the reeds that he gathered to allow him to float when he was going to try to kill his wife is what he ties to his wife and what saves her.
The harlot really saved her life.
Yeah, she saved the day. So like I said, this is a silent film. Murnau does not like title cards very much, so there are not as many dialogue cards in this movie as a lot of silent films would have. There's more in the beginning, and I don't know if you noticed that by the end of the film, there's barely any. I think the last 20 minutes of the film it just plays out. And there is an inherent limitation to silent films that you can't do very much complex stuff, but I think it also forced the actors to be more emotive and expressive in ways that dialogue can't do. And I really do think that was achieved in this movie. I watched this originally back in college. The American Film Institute put out a list of the 100 greatest films of American history.
Mm-hmm.
And Sunrise was one of the films, and I watched it and I fell in love with it. I think this is a beautiful film. Like for 1927, what they did for this movie is incredible. Like they built that city that looked kind of like a Times Square type city center. They built a set for that. It was massive. It cost so much money. And this was one of the first movies that had a score that ran along with the film. Because a lot of times, in a lot of the older silent films, they would have music that was supposed to accompany the movie, but it would not be like a magnetic strip on the film itself. It would be just played through a gramophone or something
on
else
the side.
separately.
Yeah.
This is one of the first movies that it was attached to it. And so they use that in some interesting places because there are like sound effects too. Like at times there's people cheering and cars honking and things that most silent films hadn't seen. I've watched quite a few silent films. This is my absolutely all-time favorite silent movie. I think it's inventive. It's so nice to see like how the medium has evolved. Like they're pushing the envelope with this. Like there's scenes in this movie where a character is like thinking about something and it'll show like kind of like in a thought bubble above him a scene of what he's thinking about. And you know how they did that?
How did they do that? How?
They blocked out with black the parts of the film that they wanted to show the thought bubble in. So they shot the one scene with half of the film blocked out. So the only part of the film that was exposed was the part of the scene they wanted. And then they took that same film and ran it through the camera again, moving where the blacked out parts were. And they shot the second scene. And then so it had both those things in it. I mean, this is like the things, like these are the inventive type of practices that you had to do to make stuff like this happen back in the 1920s. And
it was really cool.
Such a great example of it. And like the story is kind of weird because like it is very much true that they go from him trying to murder his wife to 15 minutes later runtime. They're like fully in love again and going through like...
It does turn around that quick.
It does.
I mean, it's true.
But like it's kind of like a fairy tale in that way. Like it's the emotions are heightened. The things are heightened. Like things happen. The thing I read calls it an allegory where he's struggling between the two sides of himself. And that, I mean, I think that's declaring it definitely allegorical is probably a little bit too strong of a thing, but I mean there is definitely some of that like he's a man, like his business is, his farm is failing, like his life is not turning out the way it was, and he turns to badness and then through the love of his wife he comes back to realizing that this is the life he wants. And I don't know. There's something.
And that was something that I had really liked about it. And I know I told you as we were watching that, you know, the whole thing was his farm is going under. The only thing he can do is sell it and then move to the city, is what the lady was saying. And so she was like, move to the city with me. We will be happy when we are in the city, when you are in the city and you don't have to do, you know, the farming anymore. And then the place that he took his wife was the city, and he realized he was happy in that place, but not with the woman who was stealing him away from his family, but with his wife. And I thought that was really nice. And that's why I like silent movies. I have not seen as many as you have. And I also just like in movies when they have those scenes with no dialogue, because I feel like when you have those actors or actresses that can really convey what is supposed to be told through just their actions or their emotion, it is so much more powerful sometimes than the actual words. And so I liked it a lot. And I thought that when you go and you see those, it's interesting too, because your interpretations can be different. And I think that that's one of the neat things about having a movie with no words, is you're not necessarily as guided to think as concretely as you would with a dialogue.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I liked it.
That's great. I like that a lot.
That's great. Thanks.
Yeah. And
good job, me.
So I'm curious, like, this is the movie I picked.
Yes.
You said you did not like, I mean, so the best actress joke that you made for this woman, is it just like, is it just her look, or do you really not think she did a good job?
I'd found her character not very appealing to me. I liked the idea of having the wife and the mistress, and I understand that, but I just didn't feel, I don't know what it was. I can't put my finger on it. Maybe it was the middle part. I don't know. Maybe it was just I got so upset about it that I couldn't let it go.
Well, there's this idea that, like, I mean, this is 1927, so it's not the most progressive movie in the world. That, like, the two sides of women, as this movie portrays it, are evil harlot trying to steal away a man, or completely subservient housewife, and it's not a good look. And I don't think the movie ever really explores her. Like, I think the movie is more centered around his realization and his rediscovering his love for his wife, and less about her. Like, the movie is not really centered on her. Like, the movie makes her.
It uses her for
quickly.
him.
Yeah. She is, and that's, again, to go back to the IMDb summary. Like, she is a representative of the good side of him winning out, and less a person, which it makes sense. 1927 and all. I mean, acting has changed since then, so her performance, I liked it. I mean, I don't think we can't compare it to, like, I don't think you compare her performance to Audrey Hepburn, dialogue or no dialogue. I just think the style of acting has shifted dramatically.
It has.
It was much more theatrical, much more broad type.
But I think that's how you have to be in those silent movies.
Right.
I think Audrey Hepburn would have been very interesting in a silent movie, because
that's a good point. Yeah.
I think you can tell a lot about what she thinks on her face, and she is very over the top and animated.
Yeah.
And so I think she would have probably done very animated. Is that what it is?
I was looking for.
Animated.
Animated.
I am very animated. Yes, indeed. And so I think that would be really interesting, because that's what I said to you too at the end, when they're just in the press secretary interview of Roman Holiday. You could tell just between Gregory Peck and Audrey Hepburn exactly the type of conversation that they want to have.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a little mini silent movie inside of it.
I think that's the scene that won her the Oscar.
Yeah.
Because she is having to express all this stuff to him without saying a word. And that is a great comparison to a silent film. Because the dialogue that those two characters want to have cannot happen. So they literally have to communicate silently.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
Thanks. I'm so smart today. Must be the Saturday thing.
Yeah. Maybe we should
when I've given myself my brain to relax a bit.
So yeah, like I wanted to jump back to something you touched on before about how, like, so this movie came out in 1927. A lot of America was still rural in 27, but we were seeing the shift of people heading to the city. Yeah. And it is very easy to look at this movie as, like, city versus country a little bit, because on the one hand you have the wife that is the country wife, and then you have the mistress that is coming from the city. But I think that would be an overly simplistic view of it, because, like you said, their love is rekindled in the city. That the city is not this evil, unknowable force where all the bad people come from, and they come here into the country.
Yes, it is. That's why you don't want to come to Dallas.
And they ruin. Well, I was actually going to get to that.
Oh, were you? Were you going to make that joke? Did I beat you to that joke?
You beat me to my joke. Yeah.
You're so predictable.
After Elyse and I got married, we lived in the city of Dallas, and we moved out to a suburb of Dallas, which is still in Dallas County. So we're like basically still in the city. But
no, Scott does not like to go to the city anymore. So can we go to some restaurants? No, because we've got to drive
it's to
the
minutes.
city. It's not 30 minutes.
30
I can
minutes.
get there in 12.
You driving too fast.
Pot, kettle.
There are so many restaurants. There's a movie theater. There's everything we need here. Why are we gonna go deal with all that stuff?
You're the farmer.
Are you gonna leave me for a mister from the city? Is it still a mistress if it's a dude? No. What is the male version of a mistress?
A mister?
I don't think that's true.
I don't know.
Yeah, so are you surprised that I picked this movie?
No.
Did you learn anything about me, or did this follow your understanding of me that I would like a movie like this?
Oh yeah.
Why?
It's I think that you like to find movies that require the production value to be challenged and for the industry to grow because of it. And like what you had talked about, exactly how they had to figure out how to do all of these things that were so remarkable for their time is exactly the type of thing that you like. So when you explain it like that, I completely understand why you would pick this movie. You would have done one that, again, broke the rules, quote unquote, because there were no rules, but that's fine.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, it's corny and cheesy.
It's corny and cheesy. You were trying to tell me something, so
No, I was not.
you know
trying
what?
to tell
It's
you
fine.
anything.
I'm not going to go on any boat rides with you. Don't worry about it.
You want to go to White Rock Lake after this?
No.
Just go out in the lake.
No.
I'll bring some
Picnic?
thistles.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, and then we can head to the city
Why
afterwards.
I can swim.
Yeah,
I can swim.
the problem, like, the
There are a lot of
Lakers didn't
issues
seem
with it.
that big.
No,
I don't know.
It's fine. It's fine.
1927.
Whatever.
All right, so that is it for Sunrise, A Song of Two Humans. That is, because it is an old movie, the copyright has gone away. So it is available on YouTube for free.
The YouTubes.
That's where we watched it.
The tubes.
I think you can also, I think they
Totally
released
tubular. Sorry, I don't
I
know.
think they released a Blu-ray of this as well. I'll have to buy it.
Okay. That's fine. I'll let you.
All right. So
as long as you buy Roman Holiday, too.
Yeah.
Please.
Well, okay. Yeah. So that's it for our movies this week. Let's move on to the discussion question responses. Yeah. We moved the order of this around. So our question last week was, do you watch the Oscars, and what is your favorite Best Picture winner or winners? We didn't get as many responses. I don't think a lot of
maybe
our
people
audience
don't
likes
like the
Oscars as
Oscars
much as we do.
It's okay. You know, it's one of those things. It's an acquired taste by some. Some people actually don't watch it because they think it gets too political.
Yeah. Well,
and
hey,
you know what?
I got something to say to those people. Art is always political.
I know.
Always.
So, some of the responses from people, Vegeta.
It's from Dragon Ball.
Oh.
It's an anime.
Vegeta. I'm so sorry I pronounced that wrong. Liked Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, and also A Man for All Seasons. I've only seen one of those. And
which one?
And like you may have remembered, I did not have the best experience with these movies, not because I cannot appreciate the fact that they were great, but I cannot appreciate the fact that I watched them all in one day, director's cut back to back. That's just a little too much for the first time that you watch it.
Elyse had a boyfriend, and I don't understand why it didn't work out.
It was all because of the Lord of the Rings. All because of it. No.
He made her watch the extended edition of these three movies back to back to back in one day.
It was a lot. It was a lot to ask of for me.
13 hours, give or take, of movies.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing, guys. Here's what I'm going to tell everyone. I love The Lord of the Rings too. I think they're fantastic movies. I've watched every single bit of director's commentary for all of them. I've watched all the special features. I watched all that stuff. If you are trying to get someone to like The Lord of the Rings that has not seen it before, don't show them the extended cut. Don't do that. Like, that's the nerdy stuff that's for us after we like the movie. Show them the theatrical cut first. Make them like the movie, and then say, hey, in 6 months, do you want to watch this again? But the extended edition, that's the smart way to do it. Do it that way.
Yeah, I think that would have been the smarter way.
Yeah. Because, like, no one that has seen these movies before is going to care about the gifts that they receive in Lothlorien. They're not going to care.
And especially because one of the reasons that I had never watched them was because I thought that the movies were too long anyway, and I didn't want to devote my time to that. So it was just, not great.
Yeah, just take this in mind. Advice from Scott and Elyse Daly. Don't make people watch extended editions the first time. Don't do it.
Especially all in a row.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who's next?
Reg
says...
Why am I pronouncing them all wrong today? I'm so sorry.
He says... He doesn't really care about the Oscars at all. But he says his favorite Oscar-winning movie is Suicide Squad. Now, the thing about this is, this was said on our Discord chat, and he didn't come back and say he was joking for like 10 hours. So
he did go back and say it was a joke.
Yes,
okay.
He came back later and said he was kidding. He said he just thinks it's funny because...
That movie actually won an Oscar.
That movie won an Oscar and therefore makes the Oscars look less legit. But it doesn't, because it was for best makeup, and that's a technical award. And, I didn't like Suicide Squad, but some of the makeup was pretty good.
The makeup was pretty good. Yeah, I'll give him that.
He also said Return of the King as well. That seems to be a common thread amongst these answers.
Must get some... What are people that like The Lord of the Rings? What are they called?
Nerds?
No, like Star Trek or Trekkies.
I don't think there's a word.
Is there nothing for the Lord of the Rings people?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. If you know, please let me know. Tolkies? So PETA's favorite Oscar movie is $1 Million Baby.
$1 Million
Baby. Which I have seen this. Actually, when I was in high school, I took my senior year a dual credit class, and one of the assignments we had, and I don't remember why, we had to pick a movie that had won Best Picture and watch it and write a paper about it. I don't remember why I did that. And that's not what I had done for my movie, $1 Million Baby. I had watched Crash because I had never seen that. I know it was not a good one to do, but I remember when I was going to try and pick out a movie, Target had done like all these best picture and Oscar winner new covers for all these movies. And I remember seeing the $1 Million Baby one. And so I think I might have bought that and Crash and then just decided to do Crash instead. It was not very...
That was not a wise decision.
No, it was not a wise decision.
That was such a bad movie.
But, I mean, all in all, I thought $1 Million Baby, it was decent. I thought Hilary Swank did a good job.
She did.
I know you're not the biggest fan of Clint Eastwood. So did you like this one, or...
Yeah, like... Clint Eastwood really didn't start bothering me until like the last 8 years. Like,
okay.
So I think this movie was 2004.
I don't know,
something like that. And yeah, I mean, I think this is a pretty good movie. I like it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's directed by... Is this Ben Affleck directed this one? I think so.
Oh God, if it was. I thought it was all Clint Eastwood. I thought it was one of his movies.
No, he stars in it.
I know that he stars in it, but I couldn't remember. I thought that he had directed it, and my computer's not connected to the internet for some reason because it doesn't like our internet.
I'm looking it up right now.
But
no, it's directed by Clint Eastwood. What the hell
see?
am I thinking?
I'm so smart. I knew it.
Yeah.
I know movie trivia. I know things.
I think Ben Affleck.
He did Argo.
I have no idea.
I kind of liked Argo.
I have no idea what I was thinking. Anyway, yeah, I think when he directed this movie, he still gave a shit, and I don't think he gives a shit anymore. And he just wants to pick things that
he thinks will win.
Not that. I think he wants to pick stories that align with his political views and reinforce. Like that American Sniper movie.
You didn't like that one, I know.
Well, I mean, like I don't like deifying like people that kill people and like celebrating that. I mean, I understand it's necessary sometime, but we don't need to celebrate it. And also, the movie was boringly directed. It's flat. It's boring. Like he doesn't want to do anything interesting with the direction of the movie. But that's modern day Clint Eastwood. I think you
liked this one.
I think this was a good movie. Yeah. Okay. All right, and lastly but not least, we have Prof, who just says "fuck the Oscars." So that's great.
How rude.
That's great. Thanks for your.
You're not invited to the party.
No, you can't come to our Oscar party.
No. And I hope you don't have a bad weather day the day after. I hope you have to go to work.
Weather day, and I was like, "What's bad weather?"
Bad.
Okay, so that is it for last week's question.
Mm-hmm.
Next week, our theme for next week is
Spring break, baby.
spring break. Woo!
I still have a spring break. I know that the majority of the world does not.
I haven't had a spring break for 10 years, but Elyse still has spring break, so it felt like the thing to do.
Yeah.
So we are going to be talking about some of our favorite spring break movies.
Yeah.
Or spring break related movies.
Yeah.
Elyse, why don't you tell me, what do you have chosen?
I chose the ultimate spring break movie.
Which is?
The ultimate sequel movie.
Which is?
22 Jump Street. I love it.
I'm so excited about this.
Channing Tatum is a comedic actor, and I just adore him. I'm so excited, guys. Let's all watch 22 Jump Street together. You think I only like movie classics, but this is a movie classic too, so.
I'm excited about this one. I watched this movie in the theaters, but haven't seen it since.
Oh, man.
And I am ready to watch it again.
It'll be exciting.
Yeah.
What'd you choose?
I chose 2012's Spring Breakers. This is the movie with Vanessa Hudgens and Selena Gomez in it. It also has James Franco playing a character
Love me
called
some Franco.
Alien. I think it's such a good movie, and I can't wait to talk about it.
Okay. I can't wait to watch it.
Have you ever seen it?
No.
Oh, perfect. I'm glad I picked it then.
Yeah.
All right, so those are the movies we are going to be watching next week. If you want to watch them ahead of time too, and then talk about them with us, that'd be great.
Yeah.
But let's get on to the viewer question, Elyse. What are we asking people?
So I know that not everybody has a spring break, but everybody needs a break now and
Everybody
then.
needs a break.
So we were curious to know, when you need a break, what movie do you go to watch? What's your go-to, I need a break to relax movie?
It's a great question. This episode brought to you by
Give
Kit
me
Kat
a
bar.
break. Give me a break. Break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar.
I hope we don't get copyright flagged for that.
Why? It's just me singing it.
Yeah, you're right. All right, guys, that's all we had time for this week. If you like this podcast, you can check it out and all the other shows we do over at dailyplanetfilms.com. Also, consider donating to our Patreon at patreon.com/dailyplanetfilms. We have our new feed for the show. This show is officially now on its own iTunes feed.
Wow.
So this is where I ask you guys for so much help. First of all, if you're listening to this on the old feed, please go and subscribe to the new one, because this is going to be the second to last show we put on the old Daily Planet feed. After next week's show, we will not be putting these up on that old feed. So if you want to listen to them via your podcatcher of choice, you got to go subscribe to the new feed.
Podcatcher?
Yeah, it's just
Is that what it's called?
a app that catches podcasts.
Huh. Interesting.
And the last thing we want you guys to do is, now that we have a new feed, we need people to find us. And the way to do that is by rating and reviewing the podcast. So go, if you are an iTunes user, if you have an iPhone, go to iTunes, search for Vow to View, find us, and leave us a review. And they'll help us so much. And we will read them.
We'll read them, or I could try and rap them,
Interpretive
or
dance
sing
and
them,
sing them.
or do something else. So if you write a review and you want me to do it in some
tell Elyse
some
what
special voice,
rhythm.
I will do any voice that you choose. I can try accents. I can try rapping. I can do whatever you choose.
Thank you so much, guys. Elyse,
Yeah.
I love you.
I love you too.
And we will see everybody next week.
Talk to everyone. Not see
It's an
them.
expression.
Okay.
I take back my I love you.
Oh, I still love you.
There's no greater weapon in a director's arsenal than a strategically placed song.
But there's one song that nobody wants to hear, the song they play when your acceptance speech has gone on too long. That's the song, that one.
And did you know it actually has lyrics? This is it. Your time is through.
You're boring. You're rambling on, no end in sight.
You're boring.
No need to thank your parakeet. You're boring.
Look at Catherine Zeta-Jones.
She's snoring.